Just last week, voters headed to the polls to decide who they wanted to lead the city of Panama City. Voters decided Allan Branch would take the helm and elected him to be their next mayor. Chris Marchand, he's live in studio to talk to Allan about his plans for the city and what the future could look like for citizens. Good morning, guys.
Thanks, Kelsey. Yeah, special guest in the studio, Panama City Mayor-elect Allan Branch. Allan, thank you very much for getting up.
Yeah.
I know it was a long trip for you to get up here. Let's talk about businessman, entrepreneur, and you delve into politics.
Right.
What was that like campaigning?
Yeah, it's wild. You're putting yourself out there to be judged by people who don't know you. It's a job application. You are literally a job applicant, and you have thousands of people who are asking you questions like an employer would because you work for the citizen, and it was wild.
I bet it was. All right, let's talk a little bit about, I'm sure that from the time you announced the mayor, probably even before you announced you're running for mayor, I'm sure you had people coming up, citizens going, I want you to focus on this. Are there two or three main topics that people really focus on that you stood out?
Yeah, so if you look at the city of Panama City, it spends about $70 million a year in the general fund. That's a big organization. Yeah. There's only one person in the communication department. She's doing an awesome job, but we need more horsepower. Most of the angst and most of the concern that citizens have around not having enough information. And communication has gotten more and more complicated. 30 years ago, you put in the paper, put it on TV, but now you got TikTok and Instagram and email newsletter and text. And so we need to beef up communications so citizens understand and trust government more.
One of the big topics that leading up to it was the pathway.
Sure.
Where do you stand on that? I mean, is that something that you would like to see in the future?
Yeah, I would. I'd love to see more walkability in general. So if you look at activetowns.com, there's not a single use case of a city removing a bike path or multi-use path because of bad things happening. Usually it pushes good activity, walkability, pushes nefarious activity out. It's all about, can you keep the trash up? Can you keep up the things that people create in general? Trash is the main one, picking it up.
Yeah. We've seen a lot of progress on Harrison Avenue. Yeah. Glenwood, Millville, a lot of great progress going on there. What is your vision for the future for Panama City?
Yeah, there was concern in the campaign. People know me as the downtown guy on history class and a weirdo. I grew up in St. Andrews near the port. I lived in Kings Point for 7 years, and so I love all of Panama City. And downtown is on a great path. The spark's been lit. There's like 24 restaurants downtown. Now we can focus on other parts of Panama City. The neighborhoods need work. The interior of Panama City needs work.
Yeah, I've seen that they were talking about the grocery desert up in the Glenwood area, and that's slowly building. We've got the MLK Rec Center going on up there. That area's continue to grow. So you think the growth will continue going more north as well?
I believe so. Can we get that vibrancy to connect to each other? That's the goal. MLK was sort of the main street of that community for years, and we need to repair the damage that DOT created by the widening the road. And so we got to get the spark lit back in that neighborhood.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I mean, you got your hands full, and but we see a bright future for Panama City.
Thank you.
Appreciate you getting up to talk with us a little bit about your vision for the future, and much appreciate that.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks, Allan. We'll be right back.